Now boarding all passengers to the Bassist.net.
Hey, are we there? I can see you. I can see you. Can you see me? Hold on. Is it working? Let's find out. There we go. Yep. Everyone's seeing me nice and well. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to thebassist.net. Another episode of The Bassist Live. Hey, and do me a favor also, as you guys are coming in, do me a favor and just let me know where you're coming from. Oh, fantastic. The chat is showing up. I struggled. I spent like another 30 or 40 minutes today because all these chats weren't showing up in that little box over there. And it took me forever to figure out what it was because YouTube is always changing their rules and how they're doing stuff. But hey, Colin, welcome, dude. Sir Bluefoot, nice to have you back. Ted, Delaware. Hey, that's a state I've never been to. I've never been to Delaware or Maine or Washington. Every other state I've either played in or visited or driven through it at least, but Delaware is still on the list of places to go, so maybe one of these days. Matthew, hey, welcome, man. Scott Cassidy from Glasgow, Scotland. Nice. I'm actually like half Scottish. I'm like Scottish-Irish on my dad's side, so one of these days I'll come to the motherland, I promise. James, East Texas. Nice. Hey, man, I take that back. I don't think we're coming through Texas. I was going to say that we're going to be passing through there in a couple of weeks, but I think I may have just lied. I'll have to check the tour schedule. Des Moines. Hey, what's up, Ben? Welcome, amigo. At least I think that's Ben. Maybe it's not. Seacliff, New York. Hey, Matt. Welcome. Matt or Matthew, I'm sorry. I assumed that you wanted to be called Matt. That was my bad. I'm not missing much in Delaware. Yeah, well, Ted, you know what? One of these days, like I said, I'll come by. Nathan from Belgium. Dang, dude, that's quite the time zone difference. What time is it over there? Because right now it's just after 3 o'clock here on the west coast of the United States, here in Los Angeles. But it's a pretty big one. Well, hey, let me do this really quick. Let me just tune up. Can you guys hear the bass okay? Is it coming through? Let me know if I need to turn it up, because I can do that. Florida, welcome, Don. Good to have you. The tuning song, everyone's favorite. A bit after midnight. You're a night owl. I like that. Munster, Indiana. Heyo. Matthew, Rudy. Okay, I like that. Loud and clear. Excellent. What's my opinion on Ibanez basses? You know what, Scott? That's a great question. Do me a favor. There's some other things that I want to do first, so do me a favor. Remind me of that question, because actually I do have quite a bit to say about it. But I'll come back and I'll answer questions maybe in just a little bit. I'm just going to give it a little bit more time and let some other people show up. But Scott, definitely remind me of that question. That's a good one. Hello from France. Break the rules. Well, you know, somebody's got to, Jerome. Hola, soy Felipe de Chile. I took 1 year of Spanish in high school. I actually took that 1 year twice. That's how good I was at it. So, Felipe, forgive me for butchering your native tongue. All right, good. We're mostly in tune here. Well, hey, guys, do me a favor. Like I said, as you're coming in, you know, just tell me where you're coming from. That way I can shout you out. And there also might be like a little bit of lag between us, because as you can see, I've got all these weird and wacky things going on down there. And so it causes a little bit of latency the way that I'm doing this live stream. So just bear with me. If there's some latency between us talking to each other, you know, that's exactly what that is. And this is like my first time playing the bass today. So I'm still trying to warm up my fingers. It's a really rainy day here in California. And I normally wear gloves. And here's a funny thing, is people come up to me all the time, and Cullen, you can vouch for me on this, I'm sure, and they'll ask like, hey, how come you're wearing gloves? Because my fingers are cold? Yeah, I must have really poor circulation. It seems like a silly question to me, but my hands get really, really cold, and they are right now. So I find that before I need to play. I'm not so much interested in like warming up and doing scales and stuff. It's literally just getting my hands warm. If my fingers are warm, then I can play. So that's what I'm going to try to do right now. I should just run the heater. That would actually solve a lot of problems. And also I apologize if my voice sounds a little bit weird. I just got over that 7-day cold that pretty much everyone around here has been having. But hey guys, do me a favor. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you can just click on it, it should be, I don't know, just above the video if you're, no, wait. Should be just below the video if you're on a computer, and if you're on a phone, I don't know where it is, but there's a thumbs up icon, and if you can click that for me, that's gonna improve my rankings, and also it's gonna make it so that this video goes out to more people. More people will get notified if those rankings go up. So thank you so much for doing that. I really, really appreciate it. And you know what? Also, one thing I gotta say is a very, very special thank you to my good friends at GHS Strings. I know their banner's getting covered up by this one, but GHS Strings, thank you so much for sponsoring this podcast. I'm actually I'm using them on this bass right here. This is their bass boomers. I've been playing these for about the past 2 months, and I can't say enough good things about them. These guys have been making excellent strings since 1964, knocking it out of the park. So I highly recommend it. So GHS, thank you so very much. And if you guys stick around to the end, I'm going to be giving some stuff away after the Q&A, and some of it is going to be some GHS swag. So stick around. I promise you're going to dig it. Before we get to questions and all that stuff, I figured I would play a quick song for you. This is a piece that a friend of mine and I wrote together. First of all, let me back up. The NAMM show was pretty much 1 month ago, and my friend Jordan Childs and I had to put together a set because we played an event on the Friday of NAMM called the Bass Hang. And I didn't have 45 minutes of original music to play because normally I'm a sideman. So Jordan and I just kind of came together and wrote some tunes. And so this is one of the songs that we played. And first of all, let me say this isn't like a mixed version. And it's actually not even really a finished song, actually, because you know, we're still working on it. So these are scratch drums, and these are, you know, the demo tracks that I'm going to play to. But this is what we played at NAMM. It's a really cool song. It doesn't have a name. In fact, it's called Idea 1 because I sent him like 10 ideas. And this was the first one that we worked on together. So anyways, this is a song that I think you guys are going to dig. So check it out. Yep, bass is on and working. Here we go. Oh my goodness, that is a beast of a song to play. So lots of mistakes in there, lots of lots of goodness. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today and getting to hear that song. Eventually, I don't want to put a timeline on it because we're not quite sure, but I'm hoping by this summer we'll have an album, we'll have a bunch of videos to go along with it and transcriptions and all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for that. But that was my good friend Jordan Childs on drums and all the production. Not all the production, we split it. But as I was saying, that's a song that we put together. And thank you so much for listening to it. I hope you guys liked it. Let's go back and read some of these comments because I'm a little backed up here. Hold on one second. Let me get to where's the main one? Okay, here we go. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Norb from Tampa. Hey, dude. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, actually, give me 1 second. In case you haven't noticed, like I'm making all of this up on the fly, so there's going to be a lot of ums. There's going to be a lot of weird pauses, and I apologize for that. But hey, I'm dropping a link in the chat right now because my good friend Norb, I met him. He's Hero Bass here on the screen. But we did an interview together at the NAMM show. I met up with Norb. He and I have been, Facebook friends for a little while, and finally got to meet him. He's from Tampa, Florida, I think. Yeah, Tampa. And it was really cool. So we actually, there's like a little 10-minute interview on his YouTube channel where I tell some of my secrets. So if you guys want to go check that out, I just dropped a link in there. Go give him support. He's a rad dude. Jasper, hey man, welcome. And of course, my darling wife, Sarah Lewis, welcome. When are you going to be home? It's 3:15, so you actually got a little while. Oh shit, I forgot to put the ribs in the oven. Don't worry, I'll get it. So a funny thing, I was supposed to prepare tonight's dinner, and I just got wrapped up in doing this. However, everyone, I'm sorry. I did do the dry rub, so we're good there. I just need to pop them in the oven right afterwards. So they'll be ready at 6:30. Glad we got that taken care of in front of everybody. Awesome. Look at technology. Fantastic. Colin says, oh, there's some smudge on my screen. It's true. He wears gloves a lot. Yeah, from what I was saying before. And Ben agrees. Always a good idea to wear gloves. Yep, definitely. Hold on, Sarah. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm getting through these as fast as I can. If you're on a phone, Sarah says, if you're on a phone, you have to click out of the chat to see the thumbs up button. So, yeah, definitely leave me a thumbs up. I really, really appreciate that. And thank you, Sarah, for telling us how it's done. Jasper says, nice Groove Gear bass strap. Yeah, dude, these are pretty cool. It doesn't go quite as high as I would like to. This is as high as it goes, and I seriously want about this much more. You probably didn't even see a difference, but yeah, it's a rad strap. It's the David Ellefson, I think, like signature strap. Very, very cool. Do I have a cupboard full of strings? I actually have several, several cupboards full of strings. Felipe says, great, thank you so much. There's a bunch of writing that I can't understand. It's in a completely different language. Sorry. Yo hablo inglés only. Continuing on. Hold on. Mark says, hello, Jamie. Sounds good. Thanks so much, man. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Hero Bass says, you cause it as a video game song. Oh, yeah, totally, dude. Yeah, maybe. I'll write some Nintendo music. I'm not above it. Actually, so does anyone here play, or did you play Resident Evil 2? When I was a kid, when I was in the 6th grade, Resident Evil 2 was like the greatest thing in the world. It was my favorite video game up until Final Fantasy VII, I think. And anyways, I bring this up because they just did a remake of Resident Evil 2, and so I was I downloaded the demo on my PlayStation, and as I'm playing it, I hear this song in this, obviously someone singing it. I'm like, man, that voice sounds really familiar. And then I get a call like 10 minutes later from Shim, Shim Moore, the artist that I tour with. And he goes, hey man, we got to add a new song to the list. I did the theme song for Resident Evil 2, and so we have to add that to our encore. Like, no shit. I was literally just listening to that, going, man, that voice sounds familiar, but I can't figure it out. So anyways, I don't know how we got onto that. Video game music. So technically, I guess I'm already doing it. Scott says, great song. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. What's your process when writing music? Do you sit down and put yourself in a more serious mood, or do you casually come up with stuff as you go and then merge them together into one song? A little bit of both. Sorry, hold on. It's a little bit of both of those things. I always compose at the piano. I'm gonna put this down, I don't need this anymore. I always start on a different instrument. I never write on a bass. This one started out just playing on a piano, on like an electric piano, like a whirly sound. I started playing through some changes, and then I add some layers, some synths, and then maybe an hour or two later, then I pick up my bass. And it's like, okay, so what would a bass player do on this kind of song? That's one method, or I just start with pencil and paper. In fact, my first album, When Will Then Be Now, you can check it out on Spotify. It's a little 6-song EP. The first thing I did back in 2012, actually, and there's a limited vinyl pressing that I did a couple years ago. I still have a few left over, so if you're into vinyl, I can get you one of those. But where was I going with that? Oh, I composed that entire album on my honeymoon, actually. We did 2 weeks in Greece, and I'm the kind of person that I need to be doing something. I need to actually be doing a lot of things. And just being on vacation for that long, I started to get like cabin fever after like day 9, day 10. So I brought some staff paper with me, and I just started writing away, and I wrote that entire album. So that's kind of my process. I know everyone's a little bit different. And with this song, what's cool is I came up with the idea, the changes, the main head melody, and then, what would be A section, B section. And then I sent that to Jordan. So I literally sent him a 45-second clip that was maybe like 60% of the song. And I said, okay, dude, what would you do with it? Would you, mix things around? Would you do this? Would you add a lick here? I mean, like, he literally went to town on it, sent that back to me, and then I tweaked it and did some things and sent it back. So that's how we came up with that song and how we're doing this entire album that'll be coming out sometime this year. Sir Bluefoot says, that's good notes per minute. I haven't counted them, but it's probably enough. Jamie Lewis support. I have one of those now. There's someone typing for me, and it's not me. So cool. Ryu Tiger Goat. Oh, good morning from Japan. That's what it was. Japanese. Yeah, I don't speak Japanese, but hey, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Ah, dang it. Hold on. Wait, I just lost it. Had a great flow. Zep bass. Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Sunny Rabbit says, nice, you're live again. I know, and actually, I need to apologize. It's been, I think, November. No, I did a Christmas song. So December was my last live stream. And yeah, January just got away from me preparing for the NAMM show. Because again, I had to come up with 45 minutes of music, not just to play at the bass hang, but also at the NAMM show itself. I played at the GHS booth and a few other random places throughout. So yeah, that whole entire month was just working on music and getting ready for NAMM. So anyways, that's what that was. Oh, hey, and you know what? By the way, speaking of which, I forgot to mention this. If you want to check out, hey, there it is. Jordan and I did a podcast together. If you haven't checked out the Bassist Podcast yet, it's really awesome. It's just me talking to other musicians, other bass players. It's an unedited, uncensored conversation. We just shoot the shit and see where it goes. And so Jordan Childs, this is us playing at the Bass Hang event. And so we kind of talked a little bit about music and some other things just before we left for NAMM and went and played. And while I was at NAMM, all I did was podcasting. I'm sure you've seen it here at the YouTube channel because normally it's an audio podcast, but I was able to do it with whatchamacallit, with video because we were at the Warwick booth and they had cameras and stuff set up. So yeah, anyways, the ones that went live the past 2 weeks were, give me a second, who was it? Oh, Joe Hubbard. Oh my God, an amazing podcast. That guy, his students are the who's who of bass players. His students are Pino Palladino, Paul Turner from Jamiroquai. I mean, the list goes on and on, the guys who have studied under Joe Hubbard. So that one was rad. And then last week, Steve Bailey, one of my personal heroes. I did a podcast with him, and the one that's coming out on Monday, I'm really excited about, is Juan Alderete from the Mars Volta, now touring with Marilyn Manson, obviously Racer X and pedalsandeffects.com. So that one's going to be going live this coming Monday. So all you got to do is, pull out your smartphone, go to the podcast app and search for The Bassist Podcast. And this one with Juan, I don't know if I'm going to be able to upload it to YouTube. I have a clip, I think. I seem to remember there being issues with the video. I haven't, uploaded it or done anything with it yet. But anyways, yeah, so I just wanted to point that out to you guys. And hey, if you wouldn't mind doing so, I know a lot of you are subscribed to the channel, but do this also. Hit this little bell icon over here. That way, you'll get notified every single time that I go live, or every time that a new episode goes up, and that way we'll just stay nice and connected with each other. Okay, let's answer some questions. I mean, we've been answering questions for a while, but let's get back to that. Hold on, I'm working my way down. I'm at Jesus Freak. What did Jesus Freak say? What song is that? Who wrote that? No, don't tell me. What my people did if they told you I'm a Jesus Freak. God, it's on the tip of my tongue. Who wrote that song? I don't know. I'll come back to it. Working my way down. Sorry, hold on. That's your live again. Florida. Do you will continue the worship series? Oh, that's where the Jesus Freak came from. I haven't planned on it. That was just sort of like an 8 or 9 series episode. I'm not sure how many it was. And I did that a couple years ago, and I kind of touched on everything that I think you need to, that pertains particularly to playing in a church. But if you want to see more, give me some suggestions, some things that you want to know about, or things that might be of help to you. I'm definitely for it. Jasper says he's got the same strap. Awesome. Okay, here's one from Jerome the Bassist with an E at the end. I like that. Mine doesn't have an E. You're much better. Why always 215 is a good lick, and why 11155 for the blues? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not really sure what you're asking, but 251, I think, is what you're getting at. That's a common jazz technique. And then why is why is the 12-bar blues the form for blues? These things just kind of evolve over time, and certain genres, it's kind of like saying, why do songs today go, intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, done? That's not how it was done 300 years ago. Listen to a Mozart symphony, right? It's an exposition followed by a theme, followed by a development section, then a recapitulation. It was totally different in Mozart's day, and in Bach's day, and in Beethoven's day. So, I mean, I don't know how those things get started, but people hear it, and then it evolves. And not to get too much of a history lesson with you, but there's a composer from the 20th century, early 20th century, by the name of Ravel, R-A-V-E-L. Listen to his compositions. It's symphonic music, but it's really cool, because here's what was happening at the time. Jazz was hitting the scene, 1910, 1920, right? We've got these notes that classical musicians had never heard before, like the blues scale and the flat 3 against a major chord, creating a sharp 9, and all these stuff. And Ravel was analyzing these compositions and incorporating 9 chords and 7 chords and extensions and alterations in his music, but the 8th notes weren't swung. They were straight. So blues music and jazz goes da ba da ba da ba da ba, and classical music goes da 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 da, right? It's a straight 8th note. So Ravel was doing jazz arrangements with straight 8ths and traditional classical orchestration, because there were no recordings yet. Ravel was over in Europe, I think, and jazz was happening in America. So people were transcribing what they heard these jazz guys doing and then shipping them back over to Europe where they had no context. They never heard jazz, but they were reading it and going, oh, wow, that's really hip. And they started messing with it. So anyways, like that's an example of how things can kind of, morph and evolve over time. It is, if I see your music, but I've never heard it, well, I'm going to have a different take on it. And if I've heard your music, but I've never seen it and I can't figure out the why or the how, same thing. I'm gonna take it to a place that you wouldn't have. So I don't know if that helps at all. Welcome from Nigeria. Nice to have you here. Hold on, wait, my text just jumped again. The only thing wait, what does this say? My name is Joel and I'm from Nigeria. Hey Joel, thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Apparently we can't send links. Thumbs down. I don't know what that means. That means I'm not allowed to post a leak or else I get in trouble. I don't know. I'm new to this in case you guys can't tell. Festival Music says, how long have you been playing piano and how should I start? Because bass chords are, that's what that face is. Piano's actually my first instrument. Sorry, like I said, I'm getting over a cold. My throat's really dry. Yeah, I've been playing piano since the age of 2, 3, 4. I don't know. My mother is a piano player. She's a piano teacher. And that was the first instrument. And I recommend it to everybody, because if you understand the piano, you understand all of the mechanics of music. And you understand the relationship between each other, because you understand bass, because you got a left hand. You understand melody, because you're playing one of those. You understand chords, because you're playing those, and rhythm, and all of it. So if you can play the piano that much, you're way ahead of everybody else. Anyone who plays just drums, or just bass, or just guitar. So yeah, how did I get into it? Mom made me do it. And I honestly don't even remember a time where I wasn't playing the piano. I stopped a long time ago. I stopped progressing, probably in like the 10th or 11th grade, right around the time I met you, Sarah. Right around the time I met my wife, I stopped practicing piano. So I got up to I was doing Mozart sonatas and Beethoven, but nothing heavy. No, I never got into like piano concertos or anything like that. But yeah, you should definitely learn to play piano. I highly recommend it. Bluefoot says, Joe Hubbard is a bass ninja. Yeah, that is exactly true, 100%. That was so stupid. Why did I do that? Good afternoon from the Mile High City. Joe Hubbard's the boss. I don't know where the Mile High City is, but sounds like a good place. I'm all for it. Good morning from Nigeria. Joel, yep, gotcha. Jars of Clay. No, I thought it was, that's the name that was in my head. I was like, I know that's not it. Of course, yes, DC Talk. Those are the guys who wrote Jesus Freak. 100% true. Sarah wins ribs for dinners. That is absolutely true. I will contend to that. Keep them going down. Hello from Dominican. Why am I could just get this computer closer. I keep leaning in. This is so stupid. Sorry, where was I? Hello from Dominican. Big fan of your videos. Excellent. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate that. Truly. Ravel, the bolero guy. I don't know what that means. Maybe. Let's keep going down. Sharp 4 or flat 5? Yeah, it could be either one, whichever one you want. Oh, yes, the person who wrote Bolero, yes. Could we loop back to the Ibanez question? Okay, yeah, absolutely. Is that still on the screen? Maybe. Yeah, okay, so the Ibanez question. What do I think of Ibanez basses? I'm a big fan of the Sound Gear line. I don't own any, but anytime I've been in a music store or anytime that a student brings one in, I can't say anything bad about it. Obviously, it's a very, I mean, if you look at them, they look like coffee shop or coffee table basses. That's what we call these, it looks like a coffee table. It's just like, really, really nice exotic woods and stuff. So it's got that vibe to it, which means it's a bit on the clean side, a bit on the hi-fi. But yeah, they play great. Those are the only ones that I have experience with. I think it's Sound Gear, the SDGR or whatever. Yeah, for students, for anyone, I mean, like if you look at the price point on them too, like $800-900. I mean, that's a great price point for that quality of instrument. I think there's definitely nicer basses, but again, for how much those cost, if that's what you want, they're fantastic. Yeah. So like I said, I don't own any, but anytime someone brings one in, I'm like, cool, man. This thing plays like butter. It's great. Let's keep going down. We did the Ibanez question. Oh, your links work, mine do not. Okay, good to know. Denver, Colorado. Hey, welcome. I'm actually going to be in Denver March 2nd. Actually, let me double check that. I'm going to drop a link in here for you guys because, one, it's going to help with the tour that we're going on. I just dropped a link in there. Shim Moore is the artist that I'm touring with currently. He was formerly in of the band Sick Puppies, and we're heading out the entire month of March. We leave. Actually, I haven't picked the leaving date. I'm the tour manager, so I get to make all those decisions. But our first show is March 2nd, I think in Colorado Springs, and then the next day we're in Denver. So yeah, if you're in the area and you're free, come on down. I'd love to hang with you. I'd love to see what you're doing and get in touch with you. So the reason I dropped the link in there is because all the tour dates are listed there on his site. So if any of you are nearby any of the cities we're going to be playing, yeah, please swing by, give me a heads up, shoot me an email or a message on Facebook or Instagram or any one of those, and yeah, let me know if you're going to come to the show. Okay, Lenses Media says, do you have a beginner bass lesson and how do I get it? I also have a problem with modes. Yes, so check this out. At thebassist.net, which is the website I've been running for the past couple years, here's how I structured it. There's a curriculum. It's called the Bassist Curriculum, and everybody goes through it when you first get there. So I know a lot of the different lessons websites are kind of like a grab bag. You can sort of choose whatever you want, and you can do that at the Bassist. But the first thing I put you through is called the Bassist Curriculum. So it starts with the basics, which is actually a completely free video series. I did it here on YouTube, so I'll drop a link in here for you for that. It's just a 12-part series that I did specifically for someone who's like never picked up a bass before. So it takes you from there, and I'm looking on the website right now. What's next in the Bassist Curriculum? So once you've learned the essentials, I teach you how to practice. I give you a bunch of practice tips, how to create your own practice routine and how to work it. We learn all the essential scales, arpeggios, we work on rhythm and timing, groove. I teach you music theory, we work on ear training, and then we learn how to read music on the bass. So the Bassist Curriculum takes you from, I've never even picked up a bass before, how do I hold the damn thing, all the way up to, I know every note on my bass, I can play any scale, I can read music, I can groove, I've got great timing. And if you think about it, that's a bass player that everyone wants to have in their band, that anyone would hire. So from there, once you've completed the Bassist Curriculum, then you can go on to the extracurricular lessons, which are like, you know, slap, two-hand tapping, playing over 2-5-1s, and sweep arpeggios. Like, there's still those styles of lessons, but I designed the Bassist.net, or the Bassist Curriculum to take you all the way through, not just the basics, but into things that professionals, you know, tools that professionals need to use in order to get the job done. So basically, I just kind of asked myself, you know, after all these years of playing and knowing everything I know now, what would I do and in which order would I follow it? So that's the Bassist Curriculum. And it starts very, very beginner. I'm not kidding. It starts with how to hold the bass, how to plug it in, how to tune it, and then takes you all the way up. So I hope that helps. T-Hawk says, the Gibson Grabber, you said it sounds like a P-bass with more character. P-basses have tons of character. Could you describe the difference? The Gibson Grabber is a 100% maple bass. The neck is maple, the fingerboard is maple, the body is maple. So it's just got this really mid-range punch to it, a honk. It doesn't really have a very good low-end definition to it. At least I don't think it does. So, you know, P-basses have that as well. So just double that or triple that, and that's what a Gibson Grabber to me sounds like. I hope that helps. Bluefoot says, Jamie, I need a new bass. Jaguar or Jazz? You know what? I had a Jaguar bass 10 years ago, back when it was a J bass. Now it's a PJ configuration. I had the first Jaguar bass, which was made in Japan, and also just 2 J style pickups. But I believe the Jaguar now is a PJ. which I don't own any of. I don't own any PJs. I'm either a J player or a P. I don't want to blend the two. I just want to pick one or the other. So I would say J bass simply because 90% of the time it's going to get the job done. That's just what I found. It's my opinion. I know a lot of you guys are P bass players and would say, oh, that's the one that gets it most of the time. I just found for me and the work that I do, it's all about a J bass. But to each his own. How do you play with super low action? Actually, my action isn't low. I have pretty high action. I used to play with low action 10, 15 years ago because I was doing a lot of like finger tapping, slapping, that kind of stuff. At this point, I don't really do that stuff anymore. So the low action helps with that. But I don't play very hard. I really don't dig in. I let the electronics do that for me if I want to. Mark says he has a P bass and an Ibanez, and it's very nice. I believe you, absolutely. Black Romulan, like as in Star Trek, because Star Trek Next Generation is like my favorite thing ever. In fact, check out the podcast I did with Evan Marion. It was like just one of the sweetest dudes ever. But we literally geek out on Star Trek Next Gen for like 20 minutes in our podcast because he's also a massive fan. Let's keep going. What else we got? March 8th in Des Moines. Heyo. Yep, I know you're going to be there. Evan Brooks says it's a solid curriculum. Oh yeah, Evan is a member at thebassist.net. He just finished up arpeggios and the rhythm test last night. Way to go, dude. Keep chugging away. It's good for you. Scott says I'm visually impaired. However, I have perfect pitch. Do you think that I still need to be able to progress at a reasonable pace despite this setback? Do I think you'll still be able to progress? I'm not visually impaired, so I don't know what that's like. However, we don't play music with our eyes. Technically, if I close my eyes and I play, it should be the same because my hands know where to go. Assuming the instrument's where it always is. So yeah, I don't see why not. And I tell students all the time, practice, turn the lights off, close your eyes, put a blindfold on. It does a lot because your other senses start to open up. And that's backed up by science as well. I know that, for instance, there's a show on Netflix called Brain Games, and they had an episode where they were talking about sight in particular and how there's this guy who is completely blind, and he's walking around outside, and basically he's echolocating. He's making these snapping sounds with his mouth, and he's going, okay, there's a wall 4 feet over there. It's made out of brick next to a shrub, and the floor is definitely concrete, and 6 feet over here. Like, he's describing where he is, and he's getting all that by making sounds and then listening to it. And so I guess the science behind that is, even if you have no eyesight or no hearing or whatever, you still have those parts of your brain. I'm not a doctor, don't quote me on any of this, but you still have a visual cortex, you still have an oral cortex, and just because your eye is not feeding your visual cortex, it can still get information from the oral cortex, the part that processes hearing, and vice versa. So if one sense isn't as good as the other, chances are it means the other ones are working harder because those sections of your brain are still processing information. It's just not getting it from your eyesight or whatever happens to be. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but essentially I would say yes, you definitely can still progress. Maybe it's going to be hard to read music. I mean, again, it depends on the nature of your impairment. But yeah, I know tons of people who don't read and play fantastic and get tons of work. So, it's all possible. Where are we? Hold on. Scrolling through. Can I get a used bass from you? I don't have any for sale. I've sold a lot of basses. I used to have like 20 or something, and now I've got it down to regularly. There's 3 that I use, and then I've got some other character pieces that I keep around just because. But I think I've only got it's still large. I actually don't know. I'd have to go count them. I think it's somewhere around 12. But I use them all. Sorry. The Jaguar looks cooler. That is absolutely true, and that's the reason why I bought the Jaguar. I don't remember why I sold it. It didn't get used. I've got something called a 6-month rule. If I haven't touched it in 6 months, it's out. That way it keeps money in my pocket, and I don't just collect a bunch of gear that I'm not ever playing. T-Hawk says, most heavier bands I see use a down-tuned 4-string instead of a regular 5. Why is this? I do the same. Some of us just like the feel of a 4-string better. There's a thickness of the neck that affects the resonance and just the sound, the feel. It's more wood. Yeah, if I'm playing that kind of music, I would prefer to play a 4-string too, unless it's really like acrobatic music. Like if I was playing Dream Theater, well, then I need to have a 6-string bass because he's playing way more notes. But if it's just like a chugging metal band, no, I don't have it in here. But when I tour with Shim, a lot of our stuff is in drop C. Whenever we do the old Puppies tunes, it's a drop C bass, which is tuned C, G, C, F. And that's my Gibson Grabber. So I use that bass on those songs, and then just a standard tune 4-string for the rest of the set. But that's the reason why, you don't need those notes if you're not going to use them. Plain and simple. I prefer Deep Space Nine, but they're all good. You know what? Sarah and I haven't gotten to that. Or no, wait. Yeah, Deep Space Nine. That's the one. That's the not the spaceship, but the docking unit. It came right after Next Gen. We didn't get into it. We gave it a solid like 4 or 5 episodes, and it just didn't take off for us. But I know it gets good. We just haven't gotten there yet. What's your opinion of twice precision pickup? I don't know what you mean. Fender Elite 80 or Jazz Bass, blacktop. Have the blacktop and a lot of low end. I don't know what you mean by twice precision. You mean like 2 P pickups instead of like a PJ? Never used one. I don't think I would like it. I prefer, like I said, a jazz bass or a P bass, but I don't really want any kind of combination of the two. I don't know why, but my hands will start twisting knobs. I'll go to the amp. Like I just can't tweak it to make it sound right. But for me, if I pick up a P bass and the song is right for it, I don't need to touch anything. We're ready to go. And the reason why I usually play a jazz bass is because almost every time I pick up a J bass, turn the knobs all the way up, and we're running. Like I don't need to adjust anything. I don't need to grab the EQ. I don't need to hit the compressor or notch anything out. It's just, it's already slamming, And a PJ, I just always have to kind of mess around with stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if that helps you at all. Well, what's going on here? My first bass was a Squier precision bass in like 1995 or 94. It was candy apple red, and I broke it. Like I was playing it, and the bridge snapped or something like that. So we took it back to Guitar Center, or Sam Ash actually, and changed it for another one, and it broke again. And this happened within like 2 days. So we took it back and changed it. I had 3 of this bass. They kept breaking. Squier was not in a good place in the mid-90s. And eventually, after like the 3rd one, I took it back and we just upgraded for like $100 to the Fender Mexican jazz bass, made in Mexico. So I grew up playing a J bass, but actually my father is a bass player and he had a precision bass. So early on, I grew up playing a P bass, and then somewhere around the 4th or 5th grade, I started playing the jazz, a Fender jazz. Have I ever regretted the 6-month rule? Yeah, I wish I still had my first bass. I wish I still had that old J bass. And the first like real instrument I got was a Carvin LB70. I played that all throughout high school, and I sold that too. I wish I still had it. But I wouldn't use them. They'd just be on the wall, just reminding me of what's going on. Evan says, what are your thoughts on a Stingray? I hear J versus P a lot, but don't tend to hear much love for the Stingray, despite it being such a popular bass. I've said it before here at the channel. Those are great instruments. They sound incredible, just not when I play them. I would rather listen to somebody else, because same thing, like if I pick up a Stingray, and I own one, and sometimes it's the right one for the job. In fact, on Shim's album, that's the only bass I used was a Stingray, which is very not me, but it was the right tool for the job. But for some reason, when I pick it up and I play it, like same thing, I start grabbing knobs and I can't get it to feel right. But if I were to hand the bass to you and you play it, I'd be like, that sounds great, cool, let me get, no, hold on, wait, and I'd start tweaking away on it again. So it's not my sound, but they are fantastic instruments. I really dig the sound of them, just not on slap. I know that's been Flea's character sound for years, and Rage Against the Machine, a lot of those guys. For me, Slap has to be on a J bass. But again, to each his own. They're great instruments. Hold on, what else we got? If you're wrapped up on the looks of a J bass, look at a Sandberg, California. Even the Electro rules. Okay, sweet. Sarah says, we're going to push through on Deep Space Nine and see how it works. Thumbs up. Want to keep us from seeing the other series. Yeah, there's lots of them out there. That's what I love about Star Trek, and that's one of the things that I mentioned in that podcast, there's so much of it. Star Wars, especially at the time, there wasn't a lot to watch because you only had the 3 movies and then 3 more movies, and that was it. Whereas Star Trek, there's so much more. So we'll get there. Bluefoot says, my first bass was a Fender Encore P bass that I got in '94. Holy crap, I'm old. You know what? You and me both. Happens to the best of us, man. That's kind of how this goes. I was just talking a second ago about Evan Marion and all that, which is where the Bassist Podcast comes into play. That was a terrible transition. I was trying to think and hit buttons at the same time. But I already said this in the beginning. If you're just joining us, please check out the Bassist Podcast. Just get out your smartphone. I got one right here. If you open up your podcast app, type in the Bassist Podcast. I've had Evan Marion on. I've had Adam Neely. Both of those guys, some of my favorite humans. Steve Bailey, Joe Hubbard, Juan Alderete is coming up this weekend. Monday. And I'm really excited about that one. It was a super awesome conversation. And also, if you wouldn't mind, please do me a favor. Give this video a thumbs up. That way it improves my rankings and more people will be able to join us next time. And I also want to take a quick moment and say a very, very special thank you to GHS Strings for sponsoring this live stream. Again, these guys are making killer strings since 1964 in Kalamazoo, Michigan, which is oddly enough, where like the majority of my family comes from. I was actually just back in Kalamazoo in September. We were on tour. We stopped off in Wisconsin. I had a few days off. I went and visited a bunch of family. It was a good time. I didn't get to hang out with GHS. Next time, though. So definitely go check them out at GHS Strings. And speaking of which, I'm actually going to start giving some stuff away. So we're going to come back. I'll answer one more question in just a minute. Oh, wait, hold on. This is blowing up over here. Let me just make sure I didn't miss something. Okay, all right. I'll come back here in just a second. First, let's give some stuff away. And here's how I do it. The way that I decide who gets to take the present home is you have to answer a trivia question. But here's how my trivia questions work. I'm not going to ask you things like, what's the 5th of this chord, or, what bass player played this line. My questions have to do specifically with the things that I post either on my social media or at thebassist.net. So here's my socials, at Jamie Lewis on either Twitter or Instagram. Facebook is the only oddball out. That's at Jamie Lewis Bass. Someone's already got that one. So anyways, go check those out or check out thebassist.net, and that's how you're going to find the answers to these questions. And the first thing that you're going to win is actually something from GHS Strings. Where is it? This stuff right here. Okay, this is GHS's fingerboard care kit and a string cleaning cloth. Now, here's the thing. When I was at the NAMM show last month, I made a big mistake. On this bass right here, this is the one that I played at all my gigs, and I forgot to change the strings. And I was practicing 7-8 hours a day for a week on that thing, and the strings were just totally dead. So I go to the GHS booth and I asked John Moody, he's the artist relations guy there. I was like, hey man, I need a set of strings. Can you help me out? Because I got to play tonight. And he was like, dude, we're all out. Because actually this is I don't know if you know, this is a tenor bass. So it's tuned E, A, D, G, C. And they're custom gauges too. I don't even know what they are. I totally forgot. But so they didn't have any of my strings, but it's like, dude, just take this home. This right here, you just like wet it down, wipe your strings on it, and then hit a cloth, wipe this stuff off, and it'll just make your strings sound bright again. It'll kind of have some of the life of a new string. And seriously, it totally worked. I played it and I used it the whole day. And actually, these same strings are on it still from NAMM. It's been a month. I haven't touched this bass, so that's the reason why. But I just, right before I played, I used this stuff again, and they feel like new. So, really cool stuff. It's called GHS Fingerboard Care Kit. And here's the question. Hold on, I gotta find it. All right, question number 1. If you get this right, you win this. I just uploaded a video of my new pedal board last week. What company makes it? I'm looking, I'm keeping my eyes on the screen. Whoever types the answer first gets to take home the string kit. And by the way, you could just go to my YouTube channel or thebassist.net, and I guarantee you'll see the answer almost immediately. Here's the thing, it's 2 words. There's 2 companies involved. Warwick is one of them, but it's actually a sub. Yes, Cullen, you're the winner. I wish you weren't because you're one of my friends, but I have to be fair. So you get to take this home. This is the GHS cleaning kit. It's yours. I'll bring it to you on Sunday. Are you gonna be at Real Life? He and I both work at the same church. But yes, it is Rockboard by Warwick. Anyways, that's for you, bud. Okay, question number 2. And this one is for a private lesson with yours truly. We'll connect over Facebook or Skype. What is Apple's? iMessage? I don't know. FaceTime. Whatever works for you, whenever works for you. Yeah, we'll make it happen, and we can go over whatever you want to. So here's the question for a private lesson with me. I also uploaded a video called 5 Minutes to Better Bass. What was tip number 1? Tip number 1. I gave 3 of them. It's actually a really cool video. I highly recommend you check it out. It's only 5 minutes. And it probably went live on Saturday, so if you go to the YouTube channel or Matthias, that is the answer I was looking for. Don't hit the, even though you spelled it wrong, I'll allow it. Don't hit the strings. Yeah, so here's, this is something that drives me nuts, is when I hear bass players, you know, like say you're playing like in a cover band, you're playing Sweet Home Alabama or something. Right? That's how the bass, well, that's not how the bass line goes, but I'll be at a place here and listen to a cover band or something, and I'll hear this. Smacking away on that upbeat, and that is a terrible thing to do. Your front of house engineer will hate you forever. So will the producer, so will the engineer, but anybody. It's just let the snare drum take it. Trust me, it'll sound much better. So who got that one? Matthias. So Matthias, do me a favor, just send me an email, jamie@thebassist.net, or message me on, you know, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, and we'll schedule a time. We got one more surprise. And before I do that, just a reminder, if you guys haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell icon. That way you'll get notified next time. So this one is to win a free month subscription at thebassist.net. 30 days, you can take a tour of the site, check out the Bassist curriculum that I was talking about before, or any of the extracurricular lessons. It's all there for you. Here's the question, all right? Where is it? Okay, here we go. On Instagram, on my Instagram account, a few days ago, I started doing construction on a new studio. I'm moving the Bassist headquarters out of my house. That's where we are right now. I'm taking it out. I'm going somewhere else. What tool did I use to break down a wall? I posted a video of this. It was absolutely obscene. Not obscene. It was just ridiculous. If you go to my Instagram account and look at, I don't know, maybe the past week of posts, I guarantee you're going to see it. Evan! Yes, the answer is a guitar. But here's the thing, Evan. You're already a member at thebassist.net, so I'm going to go one person down and hand that out to Jasper. Jasper, send me a message, email jamie@thebassist.net. Or again, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, and I'll get you hooked up with a free trial at thebassist.net. 1 month for you. Yeah. So what I did, it's at my music school in Moore Park. We had a wall that I had to take down in order to make the room bigger, And so my brother and I get in there really late at night. It's like midnight or something like that. And I was like, all right, let's start taking the wall down. And we didn't have a jackhammer, and we had this like $20 toy guitar. So I was like, I'll just use that. Grab the guitar. I just start smashing it through a wall, through the drywall, and took it down. And then the funny thing is the backlash that I got from that. People were like leaving comments like, that's no way to treat an instrument. That's not how you, like, it was a $20 Toys R Us guitar. I can do whatever I want with it. But yeah, so I'll put together, I'm building the studio currently. So probably, I don't know, maybe early summer, maybe even before, I'll put together like a video here at my YouTube channel, just showing you the whole process, what I was doing and why. And I'll definitely include that clip in there. But hey guys, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so very much for joining me. Again, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel. If you really like what I do, come hang with me at thebassist.net. I'd love to chill with you and show you what I've got going on there. And if you haven't checked out yet, the Bassist Podcast, new episodes go live each and every week. And I'm almost at the point where I have to start doing 2 because I've got so many that are backed up. And check out shimmusic.com for tour dates to see if I'm coming to a city near you. And I promise this is unfortunately going to be my last live stream here in the studio, at least for a month, because I'm going to be gone until early April. But I promise I'm going to do 1, if not 2 more live streams while I'm on the road. So I won't have this multicam setup and all that, but I'll check in with you while I'm on tour and keep you guys posted. And we'll still do giveaways and all that kind of stuff. So thank you. Thank you so very much for coming and hanging out with me and joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you again here at thebassist.net.